Hi, this is Trevor, and welcome back to our weekly tarot card video. Today is Saturday, January the 31st, 2015, and we've been working through the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. I've been sharing just some random thoughts around the cards, both things that I've found through study and some of the common interpretations, as well as, like most readers, we evolve our own interpretations over time, and I encourage you all to be kind of working in that same vein. You can find out more about me, about my work, about my own particular approach, as well as information about how to book an appointment with me, either in person or the online feature that I've been offering in the last year for some of my distant friends and clients that is over Skype. As well, I think there's going to be some very interesting developments in the next little while. There's things in the works, things that I'm not going to announce just now, but I think in the weeks to come, I'm going to have some exciting news to share with you. So I hope you'll stay tuned. You can either subscribe to this YouTube channel or to my blog, and all of that is information that I include underneath this video, and you can find my website at trevorsense.com. So lots of interesting things that are in the works. Some interesting developments too with some charities that I hope to be doing some work alongside of. All of that and more you'll find at trevorsense.com. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's get into our card of the week. And shuffling the cards. Always like to cut them. And one of my faves, the Knight of Wands. Right? And you'll notice from some of the other videos that I've done where I've talked about the court cards in the tarot that I see the court cards, the pages, knights, queens, and kings, not just as descriptors of people, but I call them modalities, sort of like gears that we have to operate in. And the Knight of Wands is a favorite. He's quite a character. When we look at all of the knights in the Rider deck, we notice some ways in which things are depicted that give us a message. All of the knights are shown on horses, and each of the knights is riding their horse a different way. In the Knight of Swords, the horse is leaping into battle. The Knight of Cups, the horse is held at close range. It's kind of prancing along. Knight of Pentacles, that horse seems to be standing stock still, and that's kind of got some interesting elements to it. But the Knight of Wands, well, this is like a horse that's not quite broken in, just like a little rodeo horse where it's bucking. Right? And the knight is trying to rein in that energy. So when we look at the symbolism, we can see both the horse and the rider describing something. And the Knight of Wands is that element of fire. Right? So this is oftentimes a descriptor of someone who is very fiery. There's that sense of challenge, oftentimes highs and lows that are going on in terms of their energy. Succeed or fail, do or die. And they make quite an impact. In terms of, describing a person, the Knight of Wands is somebody who's kind of caught up in challenge, not always thinking about the end result. And this can be a very kind of charismatic or challenging person. They certainly aren't subtle. And if you're kind of looking at a relationship with the Knight of Wands, to borrow a line from Betty Davis, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. I think that the Knight of Wands oftentimes comes into our life at a time when we're learning, in terms of that element, how to own or how to kind of work with that. And sometimes the challenge is in that person, that we are experiencing some powerful energies. Did the person cause that, though, or were those energies ours all along? The Knight of Wands can be a constructive influence if you're looking for a sense of challenge, maybe a relationship where you dare each other a little bit, where there's certainly an outgoing atmosphere. There can be a lot of sociability. I was talking before, too, about reversals. I don't always, pay attention necessarily to a card being upright or reversed. But Knight of Wands, when we classically think of a reversed card, is somebody who's kind of caught in a loop. And there's an article I wrote about that a while back on my blog, and I will include the link to it. And you know how I like to tie things into popular culture. But Knight of Wands reversed is that Eagles song, Desperado, outriding fences for so long now. And interestingly enough, in that song, there is a reference to cards, well, playing cards. Don't you draw the Queen of Diamonds, boy, she'll beat you if she's able. The Queen of Hearts is always your best bet. It seems to me some fine things have been laid upon your table, but you only want the things that you can't get. Well, okay. Some people are not Eagles fans, but there is a reference there. And sometimes when we stay stuck in a particular mode, just like in that song Desperado, the Knight of Wands is out there questing and never really satisfied. We have to learn to kind of move through that area of challenge, but to not stay stuck in that mode. Knights are oftentimes also tied into where there's cooperation, just like knights on a quest. How are we kind of working with and dealing with that dynamic? You can see knights sometimes as not just a person, but sometimes that feeling of cooperative energy that's trying to come together. And in this case, it's going to involve some fire that has to be reined in. Well, again, just some random thoughts around this card. Again, one of my favorites. There's some links that I will include. Looking forward to sharing more with you, and in the weeks ahead, like I said, some exciting news that's stuff in development. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Tune in again, and until next time, have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.